Hey folks, this is Eric coming from Kansas again. Thought I'd do a little video on why I only purchase inverter type generators that are called inverter generators. And so I've got a few points here that I thought I'd go over of why that is, and why I believe they're a better choice, even though they're more expensive in the long run. So the first one is they're quieter. For those of you that aren't familiar with them, or haven't owned one or haven't heard one, or there's lots of videos on there on YouTube and elsewhere about comparing different inverter type generators, sound decibels, and between different types, different manufacturers, and I'm sure there's ones that compare these to the, what you call them, frame type generators that are less expensive per watt they produce. So I'm sure you can go find those on YouTube. But I wanted to go over why I only buy them versus the less expensive ones. So first of all, they're quieter, and for two reasons from what I've seen. One is just because they're designed to run out at, they allow the engine to run at any speed that it wants to. And so that in itself makes them quieter. The other point is because, why they're quieter is because they come at a higher price point, and that allows the manufacturers more margin in their pricing structure to put these nice enclosures around them and give them some sound insulation, and that helps them be quieter as well. So that's one big factor. And when things are quieter, your neighbors don't get as annoyed, and also you aren't attracting as much attention, and you can hide what you're doing more if that's important to you. And the other thing that kind of goes on the next point is one of the reasons they're quiet is because they're also more efficient, and because they can run at any speed that they want, because the inverter that's on board these things that takes these generators, the generator that's attached to the engine, I haven't researched this at all, or can't really confirmed it, but I don't know why it wouldn't be this way. Just thinking about it electrically and mechanically, being an engineer myself, I'm almost certain these things are attached to generators that make DC power, and that's why they have an inverter. That's why they're called inverter generators. So the inverter on board takes that DC power from the generator that's attached to the engine, and that it takes that variable DC power and converts it to AC power. And so whatever that DC generator is putting out, that inverter can modulate that and convert it to the exact same AC power that it needs to, regardless of the engine speed and the power input, voltage and current from the DC generator. So that's why they can run at any speed they want. That allows them to do that. And with that, they can also they're also more efficient because they can run at any speed they want. They're not running at full speed all the time like your less expensive, I guess you call frame generator at a lower cost point. So that allows them to run at the most efficient speed that they can and they want to. You can go and look at the fuel consumption of these at half load or quarter load, these types of inverter generators versus a frame type generator that runs at a single speed, and compare the stats, and you'll find out for yourself how much more efficient these are on paper But in reality, I'll give you an example. So I was watching a YouTube video of a guy that had I think it was like a 6,000 or 8,000 watt frame generator that, you know, a single speed, more lower cost level type generator. And it was able to run on propane, and he decided to, he bought a 100-pound propane container. So this is a 20-pound propane container that you see all the time, grills, and you swap out at Home Depot and Lowe's and whatever. This was a 100-pound propane container, so it was, you know, 5 times the size of this, you know, probably about the same diameter but much taller. And with that generator he had, he went through that tank. I don't know what his loads were at his house. He was powering his house during a power outage. But he went through that 100-pound propane tank in less than a day, if I'm not mistaken. May have been over a day, but I remember him being quite displeased and surprised that he went through that propane so fast. Whereas this guy right here, at least on paper, I think it's quarter load or half load. I think it's quarter load. It'll last 34 hours on a 20-pound propane tank. So, you know, wherever that generator was at 6,000 watts, say this thing is putting out, say you have, you know, 4 of these that have the ability to put out 6,000 watts in parallel if you set up right, to match that size of that generator he had. And say, you know, he was running whatever loads he was running. I'm assuming he was only running that thing at quarter load or less. You know, most of the time you're running high loads where you need a 6,000 or 8,000 watt generator all the time for a house if you're in a power outage. But at any rate, you take 4 of these compared to that big one and daisy chain them all together in parallel. And you know, on that 100-pound propane container, you'd probably see 34 hours is what, a day and a half. You know, you'd need 4 of these propane containers for each of those 4 generators, and plus you have another 20 pounds on top of that for that 100-pound propane container. You know, you could last. You could probably last at least a day and a half, obviously, but you know, probably over a couple of days, pretty easily on that versus less than a day. So anyway, hope that gives you an idea of the efficiency. And you know, on gas, I know these will run, you know, at least the Hondas here will run 8 or 9 hours at half load on a gallon of gasoline, which is pretty good considering. And so anyway, they're more efficient. Way more efficient. The other reason I only buy these now is parallel capability. I don't think there's any single speed generators out there that can run parallel, but there may be. I could be wrong. But the inverters in these things again allow that capability because the inverters can sense can match the sine waves or electricity signals from 2 different generators. And I've seen people run different manufacturers' inverter generators together with each other. I've seen several videos of that, so it can be done. So it's, you know, it's not complicated, and it's pretty handy. When you need more power, you just chain more of these up together, and you can get the power output you want. And all of them will modulate their speed up and down equally. Let's see here. And speaking of the paralleling, you can do more than 2 of these parallel. I've seen it done. You just need to know some DIY, simple DIY electrical experience, and you can make your own box where all of them can connect them together, and where you have your, I think I have my parallel kit right here. Haven't used it in a while, but this is a pretty low cost one. But this just parallels 2 generators together, but it's got a you know, an old style dryer outlet here where they all combine. Most of them have RV plug-ins, whether it's 50 amp or a 50 amp 240 volt or a 30 amp 120 volt plug. So you can do more than two, and you can get a lot of power out of these things when you do that. Let's see here. A lot of these things come with extra features because they're also at a higher price point. You know, these smaller ones don't have wheels or anything, but they got these nice carry handles. I don't know if they're any lighter compared to the standard single speed generators, but you know, they still come with a lot of other features that the other ones don't. Like I mean, some of the bigger inverter generators come with wheels and some pretty nice carry handles as well. So yeah, the last thing I want to mention is that due to the inverters on board that control the power output. I haven't confirmed this, but from just the thinking about how they're put together versus a single speed generator that operates at 3600 RPM all the time, the inverters in these allow the power output to be more consistent from my understanding of how they work, and so my best guess is these put out cleaner power as well. You know, maintain 60 hertz a lot better. They maintain voltage a lot better, and things of that nature. Instead of having a single speed generator where you put a load on that, a high load, all of a sudden you can hear it change in load. Try to compensate, and that thing's changing and dropping in speed for a short time, so it's not putting out that perfect 60 hertz when that happens. Whereas these have more capability of doing that from what I understand. So that's all I had on these things. That's why I only buy inverter generators these days. I think I had a small, simple one a while back, and it just didn't do that well. So, yeah, that's about all I had. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, or if you have any other topics I didn't cover today, or different points of view, let me know. But with that, grace and peace be with you, and we'll talk to you later.